Hey, everybody, it's Dominic here. How are you? Hey, today we're going to be talking about the first step to figuring it all out. Now, I get what would Letterman call it? Viewer mail. I get questions from people from time to time, and they're like, "Hey, Dom, this is what my company looks like." Or I get on the phone with them and we have a nice chat, which I always love doing. Believe it or not, I'm open to talking to you. If you're listening to this show and you want to have a quick chat, send me a text message and say hi. And if it warrants a chat, then we'll talk. But every once in a while, I get on the phone and I talk to people, and they say, "Well, Dom, this is what my company looks like." And what I find interesting is that almost everybody I talk to thinks that everyone else listening is that much different than them. They'll say, "Well, Dom, I'm just a small shop and I kind of want to stay kind of a small outfit. What we're doing is happy. I don't want to get too big. I don't want to have 1,000 guys." And then I'll talk to somebody who's kind of medium sized. They're like, we got a crew of 10. Yeah, we spike up to 15 or 20 in the busy season, but I'm kind of happy where we are. I don't know if I want to get bigger. And then I'll talk to somebody else who's almost exactly the same. They'll say, "Look, we're at 10 guys now. I know I've got something good in hand here, and I think I can really put the afterburners on this thing. And I really want to go for it this year now, or now that we got new machinery or new equipment or bigger truck or a better crew or a great foreman, something has changed in their business and they're saying, "Hey, I'm ready to go." So everybody's a little bit different, but they don't think they're different. They think they're different, but they're the only one in that situation. And everybody else has it figured out. Well, that's not the case. Let me be honest. Even I don't have it figured out. I have no idea what I'm doing with this podcast. I'm just trying to be an honest guy, having good conversations with people who I keep finding are good people. So my end game on this, to be honest, even though I'm a business coach, is I'm not sure. I know that when I do these shows, I end up meeting great people who have real issues and we could solve them. So working, that's good. And I like doing it. So it's working. So let's keep doing it. But if you don't have your ducks in a row, let me show you what I do. And not only what I do now in this business that I run, but I've done in the past for my other businesses as well. Those of you who haven't listened to previous episodes, who maybe just joined in now, just give me 30 seconds to give you a brief background of my history so you understand where I'm coming at when we talk about this topic today, which again is the first step to figuring it all out. Again, it doesn't matter what size business you are. We all have to go through the same process. Every company, every business has to do this. Whether you're one guy at kitchen table running your business, or you got a crew of 100 people and you're doing civil engineering contracts, building concrete bridges over highways, doesn't matter. We all have to figure this stuff out. But I'll tell you quickly about my background. So went to school, normal stuff. I did end up going to university, but I got a degree in archaeology of all things. You can laugh if you want. I don't use archaeology, but I did learn how to think. But I didn't come out of school as an archaeologist because what the heck am I going to do with that? So I went into selling real estate, and from there I went into the corporate world. I didn't like real estate, didn't like being a realtor. Then I went and got a job with a phone company, a big phone company, and I became a blue suit and red tie kind of guy that, like a Xerox salesman or just a high-end strategic type sales guy. And we were trained like gladiators in a cage. I'm not kidding. The sales training we had was top notch. So I did that for a couple of years. Then I ended up moving up into management in that company where I trained and supported other people in sales and management and growing the company across the country. So that was kind of interesting. Then I sold money for a little while. Then I started my own business. That did not do well. I've had a couple businesses. Though my first business actually was a Christmas light installation company called the Yo Ho Ho Light Co. I installed Christmas lights on people's houses. That was the last, I did that in grade 12 and first year of college. And that was pretty good, but I didn't make any money at that. Then I became a house painter. I did that in university as well. And I learned a lot being a house painter. Anyways, while I was in corporate, in telecom, working for a big phone company, I started selling used junk, like crap, stuff that, garbage on eBay. And what I sold, and you have to be old enough to understand this, I sold used calculators, but they were the LED calculators. So those of you who still remember playing with a ColecoVision head-to-head football or Pong or Zaxxon or anything like that, these are old games, man, old games. If it was LED, there were collectors for it. And I still don't know why, but I don't care. I bought stuff at garage sales and flea markets and empty storage lockers, and I sold it to them online. Anyways, as you'd imagine, that business did not do very well. But then I became a business coach, and everything I learned as a business coach, which was now is now my trade. I've been doing this business coaching for 20, 21 years officially, because I started in January of 2000. So it's now 2001 as you're listening to this. So there you go. I'm 21 years as a professional business coach. But anyways, I was showing other people how to turn their businesses around with everything I learned by becoming a professional coach and going through all my certifications. And I thought, I wonder if it would work on my own company. And so I took that little used junk on eBay business and I turned it into a used bookstore online. And then I turned that into a mail order pharmacy. And after a couple of years, I sold that. And we were doing 120 million in sales when I sold it. We were doing very well. And then I kind of retired, as you might imagine, because I had rung the bell, as it's called. And then I ended up becoming the global master franchisor for a guy named Brian Tracy. And Brian Tracy is quite a big name in business and business improvement, sales improvement. And so I franchised that. I taught other people how to do what I'm doing right now with you on this call. Anyways, when I bought it, he had 6 franchisees, but Brian's a very busy guy traveling around the world speaking, not only here in North America, but also overseas in Europe, in the Middle East. He speaks a lot. And so I took that over, bought the rights, and I got it up to 237 units around the world. And then I sold it. And then I started this. So that's my background. But I had to figure out my why. That's what we're going back to, the key to figuring it all out, the first step. And that's what I had to do as well. So I'm going to take you through my process for doing that, because I want you to do the same thing. And first of all, you're okay where you are. Okay. If you are one guy who does fences and decks, and you want to stay that way, that's fine. If you're one guy who wants to rule the world, okay, that's fine too. If you're at 10 people and you think you want to stay at 10 people or maybe nudge up to 12, but you're stuck, okay. The process I'm going to show you now will get you there. It's the thought process. Everything in business starts in your head, in my head. By the way, congratulations to you for listening to this show, because you already get that. You know that you've got to put new information in your head. So you got on whatever your podcast channel, however you get your podcast, and you thought, I need to find out more about business and my business specifically, and how I run a construction business or a subcontractor or a general contractor, cabinet making, whatever it is. And you said, I want to listen. And so you did. So you know already that to be a business owner, we actually get paid from the neck up. So that's a very important part. If you are taking notes, write that down. If you're driving, do not write that down. You got other stuff to do right now. But you might be walking the dog or on the treadmill, or I don't know, doing a cross-country trip to visit your daughter. I don't know what you're doing, but think about this. We get paid from the neck up. That's the highest value that a business owner can have. So that's where we're going to work today. This show is not about swinging the hammer, turning wrenches. It is about thinking like a business owner. So I'm going to do that exercise. For those of you who are watching me online right now on the YouTube channel, you'll see that I'm changing screens because this is actually material in one of the courses that I teach. Some of you will recognize it. We're going to be talking about who is my who and what's my why, which might sound crazy, but that's exactly what it is. We have to understand a couple different things. So I'm going to walk you through it right now. Okay. And this is where reinvention of your business starts. This is how you get in a control position and start to understand how to build the business. You got to do it in your head first before you can guide and direct your people, find the right clients, etc. So if you're ready, let's get into it. Okay. So I'm going to start out with a story. You guys know I like stories. Actually, the story time with Dom bit on the podcast seems to be the most popular bit. So I'm going to tell you this story. You go for a beer with 2 of your buddies and they see your success in business. And so they're like, hey, Dom, wow, you're doing really well. Can I get your help? So you're out for beer and you're like, okay, but I'm a busy guy and I don't want to mess around with people who are messing around. Even though these are friends, we're going to cut this conversation off if it doesn't go in the right direction, right? So I want to help one guy out of these 2 buddies because I can only help one person because I'm super busy. So I want to find the one who's motivated to take action on the advice I'm going to give them. So I'm going to ask them both a simple question, but it's a powerful question. Why? Why do you want my help? So my first buddy, let's say his name is Frank. So there you go. F. First buddy, Frank. Frank says, Dom, I want to make more money. I'm like, oh, that's a good question. Or it's a good answer. Sure. Why? And he says, Dom, I want to buy nice stuff. I want a newer truck, a bigger ski boat, another skidoo, quad for my kids, maybe an acreage, whatever. I want to buy more stuff. And I think to myself, this guy's motivated. Okay, that's a good answer. But you're used to being a business owner now. You're in business owner mindset. Your friends have come to you and you think, I better ask them one more question here just to really tie this down. And so you ask Frank, first friend Frank, one more time, why do you want to make more money? And Frank looks at you with the look, and says, because I want to make more money. And you think, okay, got my answer. I guess I just asked a dumb question. So you turn to your second buddy, Stan, and you say, Stan, see how I did that? First buddy, Frank, second buddy, Stan. So you turn to your second buddy, Stan, and you ask him the same question. Hey, Stan, why? Why do you want my help? And Stan says, well, Dom, I want to make more money too. And so you laugh to yourself. Of course you do. You just heard Frank's answer. So you're still in the mindset of trying to help one of your buddies. So you say, okay, Stan, well, hold on a second. Why? Why do you want to make more money? And then Stan says, I have some things I want to take care of. The way he said it makes you think, hang on, there's more here. So you go, so Stan, what do you mean? What kind of things? So Stan goes on to tell you his mom is in an old age home. Up until now, Stan's only been able to afford to pay for her to be in a shared room. She shares a room with three other women, three other ladies, right? And they're all separated just by a curtain. Now, one of the ladies in that room has dementia, and Stan tells you that because of that, his mom is up all night long listening to this woman yelling and screaming and talking to herself. And Stan's mom can't get any rest, can't get any peace and quiet. Stan can't afford to put her in a better living condition. And Stan finishes by saying, Dom, I want to make more money so I can afford to put my mom in a private room. She took care of me, my brothers and sisters, my whole life. She deserves this. So you've now heard the why from two of your very close buddies. Which one of those two guys do you know will do whatever it takes to get his goal? I want to tell you, by the way, before we finish that story, that's a real story. That is a story I heard as a business coach many, many years ago. And I just sat across from the guy and thought, man, he has the broadest shoulders in the world. He's trying to grow his business so he can take care of his mom. And, if I dig a little bit deeper into the story, a guy that we're now calling second buddy Stan, his own brothers and sisters were not helping. They were taking, if anything. But Stan was the good good son, taking care of mom when she needed it most. And I had a client that he and I worked together for a long time, and we got a lot done. So, but that's a guy who knew why he was doing what he was doing. So let me go back to this. Whether you're one guy sitting at your kitchen table, one man or woman sitting at your kitchen table, you want to grow your construction trades, home services business, whether you got a crew of 10 and you want to stay at 10, whether you have a crew at 10 and you want to get to 12 or 15 people, whether you want to get past that magical $1 million mark, whether you have a crew of 50 people, 100 people, and you want to keep growing and go internationally, you got to figure out your why. I've seen all of those situations, and they're all super interesting to me. But the first thing we got to do is figure out why you want to do this. And that's what I want you to do. So here's the exercise I'm going to walk you through. So first, we're going to start in a place you might be surprised at, but this is classic business coach stuff, right? First thing you got to ask is, who am I? So who are you? Define yourself first. I know, by the way, that some of you are listening to this while you're operating heavy machinery or you're actually on the tools thinking about growing your business. And I respect that to the nth degree. Just keep letting this information flow into your head and let it wash over you. Over time, it'll start to build up like layers of silt on a sandbank, and it'll just grow and you'll get where you need to go. So keep listening, keep working. You're doing the right thing. You've got the right mindset. You're aimed in the right direction. Just keep walking. Okay. Others of you are a little bit further along. You might be in a position where you're in your office, you're taking notes, or you're in your home office and you can take notes. Keep going. You're in the right direction. You're going on the right path. Keep going here. Okay. So who am I? First, I want you to list or think about 3 things you've done that make you proud. Now, it doesn't have to be in business, but think about in your life 3 things that you've done that make you proud. If you can, write those things down. Now, once you've done that, list 3 things other people do that make you disappointed. So think about that for a second. Think about your brother, your sister, your friend, your neighbor, maybe your partner, maybe one of your staff, maybe a supplier, maybe your ex-business partner. It doesn't matter. List 3 things other people do that make you disappointed. Could be somebody at your church, could be somebody on your sports team, could be somebody in your past who you don't talk to anymore. It's fine. Could be somebody you're about to meet with in an hour. Think about those people. List 3 things those people do that make you disappointed. Keep a hold of that. It's a big part of who you're going to be when you reinvent yourself into the future. This is what I work with on people when they're in the academy. That's why people read the book. The book's called Construction Millionaire Secrets. I'm sure you've heard about it now. Just go to, if you want the book, it's got all these exercises right in it, by the way, if you want to print it out. It's called constructionmillionairesecrets.com. How hard is that to remember? If you want a free copy, text me. Send a text message to 678-506-7543. And just when you send that text, use the keyword secrets, because it's called Construction Millionaire Secrets. And you can get the book there. So the book is free. You can get it on Amazon, but you got to pay for the book and pay for shipping because that's the Amazon way. But if you get it through me, I have a whole bunch of copies here. So just shoot me the note. Anyways, think about 3 things other people do that make you disappointed and write them down if you can, if you've got the worksheet, like I said, which are downloads once you get the book. Anyways, based on those 2 lists, how would you describe yourself? Based on those 2 lists, things you've done that make you proud, things other people do that make you disappointed. Now, based on those 2 things, how would you describe yourself? Just quickly think about that. It doesn't have to be a long sentence. It just has to be a short sentence, something that's impactful to you. So we'll call that box A, right? Or write that on the side of your page. Box A. Okay, now we're going to move on and we're going to ask this question. Think about your 3 strongest skills as a tradesperson in order of priority. So what makes you strong as a trades pro in order of priority? Nobody turns a wrench like you. Nobody can do load balancing on a system like you. Nobody can cut black pipe like you. Nobody can back up a trailer like you. I don't know what it is, right? List your strongest skills as a tradesperson in order of priority, right? So list those, as many of those as you can, and think about them. What's the first thing that's good about you? What's the second and third? Now what I'd like you to do is change gears a little bit. Now I want you to think about or list, depending on what you're doing right now, list your strongest skills as a business person in order of priority. So what are your strongest skills as a business person? Maybe you're really good as an estimator. Maybe you're really good with people, like meeting people. And once you get a meeting with people, you're going to get the deal. You're going to get that contract. Maybe your skill as a business person is you're just no nonsense and you collect every dime owed to you all the time, whatever that is. I don't know. But list your strongest skills as a business person in order of priority. Are you good at marketing? Are you good at sales? You're good at negotiating? You're good at estimating? You're good at managing your people? You're good at getting the job done on time and on budget? Are you really good at doing it really well because you do it twice? That is a problem, but you could write that down. And so what are your strongest skills as a business person in order of priority, right? And then let's move one more layer into that. Let's think about it another way. And remember, guys, this is what we do in the Construction Millionaire Academy. So those of you who are already in the academy, who are taking the group coaching program, you're going to recognize this exercise as something we did way in the beginning when we talked about the mindset of success, because this is where it all starts, right? What I say to myself when no one else is listening is what the world sees when everyone is watching. You guys have heard me say that a million times, right? And so how I think and what I think about are critically important because success starts in my head, right? You've heard this before, Stephen Covey, Brian Tracy, Tony Robbins, Napoleon Hill, like you can go back generations. This has always been a mindset thing, right? So stay with me on this mindset exercise. By the way, this is the kind of thing you don't get on other shows. I know that because I listen to other podcasts and they don't talk about this deep level business building, entrepreneur stuff. We're talking about not only building your business, but changing your mindset so you're building a legacy business. Because when you be the kind of person that I'm showing you to be, your kids and your employees see that and they model. What that means is they start to be that too. So you are now the point in time in the history of your family name where you're going to have the most impact for everybody who comes afterwards. So if you think negatively, if you act negatively, your kids and the people around you are going to see that and they're going to say, hey, Bob did it. I'll do that too. If they see you acting, taking responsibility, being proactive, being positive, having a plan, working that plan, working from the neck up, they're going to go, Daddy always did that. I'm going to be that person too. So you have a ton of responsibility on your shoulders while you're doing this exercise. So let's keep going through it. Now I want you to think about the kinds of things you see other contractors do that frustrate or disappoint you. Ooh, that one's a little bit ugly. What are the kinds of things other contractors do that frustrate or disappoint you? Sorry, but we got to talk about it. It's the elephant in the room. But you know what I'm talking about. You've seen other people do stuff that you're just not happy with, right? Maybe they misestimate, maybe they do poor technical work, whatever it is, right? They don't know plumb, square, and level from a hole in the ground. They can't read a tape measure, right? 16 and three little bits. Yeah, that's how you read a tape, by calling it 16 and three little bits. How many of those little bits, which little bit is bigger than the others? Oh, which little bits are you counting? Yeah, all that stuff, right? So listen, based on those three lists, now how would you describe yourself as a construction contractor? So now we've got two questions that have been on the table. The first one, which we called box A, was, let me go back up to it because I'm looking at my notes here. How would you describe yourself? And the next one is, how would you describe yourself as a construction contractor? Now take box A and box B of those two questions and combine themselves to see how you describe yourself as a person and as a contractor. When you're aligned, and for those of you watching this on the video, I'm putting my two fingers together, making a pointing in the same direction. When you're aligned, hold your hands like you're praying, like you're a classic picture of somebody praying. That's alignment, right? When you're aligned, everything becomes easier, man. So much easier than when you're not aligned. I have been unaligned in the past with business partners that didn't work out with me, where we had different goals, different ways of treating people, different ways of seeing the world, different ways of doing business, different ways of purchasing, different ways of selling. And although those differences seemed small in the beginning, they became huge in the end. And you can imagine, for instance, on that business that was doing 120 million a year, money's a magnifier. Whoever you are when you got no money is the same person you are when you got a lot of money, which is why you always see people who win lotteries broke a couple of years later, why you see big boxing stars bankrupt a couple of years after the huge, 100 million purse that they won in the boxing match, because they don't know how to manage money. You're the same with money as you are without money. Money is a magnifier. So those people are not aligned. Once they had wealth, they still operated as if they didn't have wealth. The habits that they had that kept themselves held down were with them once they got a big prize purse, once they won the lottery. So I don't want you to be that person. And thankfully, you're listening to this show, and hopefully others like it if you can find them, about the business of business. This is the business of the construction business we're talking about here. It's the highest and best use of your time you can have as a business owner, as a community leader, as a leader to your family and friends, showing them what success looks like. That's what you're doing in this exercise. You're showing me and you're showing your friends what success looks like. All the people in the academy, same thing. Construction Millionaire Academy, people getting the book, the people taking the courses, you're just in that mindset. You got to get in the groove. You got to jump in. It's like saying, I'm going to wait for computers to come down in price before I get one. What a lunatic. Just get a computer. You got to jump in. I know it's expensive to get a computer, but what would you do without it? It's just the way things are done now. And same thing here. You have to invest in your mind. You have an inventory of your mind, or as you might have heard some people say, you have to rely on your wits. I've had to rely on my wits for a long time because my looks aren't getting me far. All right. So let's now talk about what is my why? What's my reason? So remember, now just to tie us down here, the thing that we just finished, the part of this exercise you just did is to combine in one sentence describing who you are as a person and as a contractor. Now we're going to go to what's my why. And it seems like such an easy question, but it's the biggest driver to success of your business and your ability to get the right clients and the right jobs and the right crew in the right situations, in the right parts of town. Everything thumbs up, all the toggles clicked to yes, everything clicked to go, right? Why? That's the big question. And remember, none of us are in business for business reasons. We're all in business for personal reasons. So here's a couple of why questions I want you to consider. Why did you decide to open a construction business of your own? Why? Like, what's the real reason you did that? Maybe you don't like working for a boss. Maybe you knew that you could run business better. Maybe you thought your boss was a lunatic and so you left. And now you realize you're the lunatic. I did that. Why did you decide not to just get a job or keep the job that you had? Why? Why did you leave? Go back and capture that. Write it down. Understand it. If you're walking your dog, tell your dog right now, hey, Spot, you know why I left that company? Tell your dog, right? If you're on a treadmill in the gym and there's people around you, do not say that out loud. You're going to seem crazy. And some big muscly guy wearing a medium shirt who should be in a large will come up and ask you to leave. What's the feeling you're searching for when you reach for success? So what is it you want? What's the burning drive? Are you looking for pride? Are you looking for recognition? Are you looking for service, right? Is it mission work? Like in the case of my friend up above who was taking care of his mom, up above earlier in the story, the feeling he was searching for is making sure his mom was taken care of. He likes to take care of the people he loves. And so there was a sense of responsibility, of duty, of pride. And he also knew his siblings, brothers and sisters, weren't going to step in. They were actually the opposite. They were trying to, it's an old situation, but they were doing more taking than they were giving. And he was taking care of his mom. Anyways, this is a big one. How do you define success for yourself in this business? Just because the guy across the street's doing 10 million bucks doesn't mean $10 million is your number. And by the way, don't believe him when he says he is, because most people are full of you know what. How do you define success for yourself? Maybe you're home every day by 3, so you can take your daughter to dance, take your son to football, take your other kid to music. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. How do you define success for yourself in this business? That's the most important and really the only thing. You define your own success. It's not about making $1 million. I can show you how to do that all day long, but if you're not internally driven, it ain't going to happen. No matter what we talk about, no matter what tactics and strategies you learn by reading the book, by joining the academy, even doing one-on-one business coaching with Dominic every week or every 2 weeks, it's not going to get you there unless you understand what defines success for yourself in the business, right? And then this one's big. Who is watching you today? Who's relying on you to succeed? Your grandchildren, your niece, your nephew, your brother, your sister, your kids, your wife, maybe your in-laws. In the case of my friend up above, my old client, his mom was relying on him to succeed. Now, I don't think she would ever put that guilt on him, but he took it on himself. He needed to change the business so he could do that. Who's relying on you to succeed? What do you want them to say when they think back on the impact you've had on them? They won't say it to your face, but they'll tell their friends, my son Johnny did this. Do you see what he created? Who he became? We're so proud of him. They may never, ever say it to your face. But what do you want them to say when they think back on the impact you've had on them? How would it make you feel if you failed at that? Write that answer down. Tell the dog if you're walking the dog. Now you're ready to understand your why. Okay, I know a lot of times I joke around. I'm a very positive and happy guy. I have a mission to do. I believe in what I do. But today you've probably heard my tone to be a little more serious and a little more down because I really want to get this in your head. I want you to have the time to consider the answers to the deep questions. What is your why? You, my friend, have just done an exercise that out of 1 million people, only one will ever do. Only one. And now when you listen to the show, you're in a room full of those 1 out of 1 million. When you're in the academy, you're in an even, a more refined group because everybody there has considered this question. I'm glad you did it. I'm proud of you for doing it. Let this episode sit. Once you're done this episode, maybe take a few minutes just to yourself. If you're walking your dog, take another loop and just think about things. If you're on the treadmill, go ahead and smash that button and do another 15 minutes on your own. If you're driving, take the long way home. You owe this to yourself to just consider the impact, the power of these questions on the legacy of your last name. That's why you're here. That's why I think I'm here, is to guide you through that. You and I may never meet, and I hope that I've had an impact on your life and your business. Again, the legacy of your last name as it goes forward. When you understand your why, I can't stop you. I got to hold on like a team of Huskies. I cannot keep up with you when you understand your why. That's where I want you to get. Thank you very much for joining me here today on Profit Tool Belt. I really appreciate it. Again, if you want to get the book, if you want to have this as a reference, take notes, be reminded, get the book, right? It's easy to get. Go to constructionmillionairesecrets.com or send me a text message at 678-506-7543 and just give me the keyword secrets so that me and my team know to send you the right thing, which is the link to the free book. You can get it on Amazon, but I think it's a little more expensive. Go ahead, take the action you need to take. Once you understand your why, nobody can hold you back. Thank you, my friend. I really hope one day you and I can look at each other face to face in the same room, shake hands and say hi. You have a great day. Go change the world. Bye-bye.